2022, 7 p.m., Village of Minerva Park Council. Starting with roll call. Councilperson McNamara.
Present.
Councilperson Bruger.
Here.
Council President Wolf.
Here.
Councilperson Cameron.
Here.
Councilperson Tresta.
Present.
And Councilperson Cost is excused. She is stuck at work. And let's move to the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now we're moving to meeting minutes. We have the May 12th council meeting minutes to approve.
Move to approve.
All those in favor?
We need a second.
Oh, second.
Second.
You guys are usually quick.
I know.
Come on. Okay, we got a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed or extensions? Okay.
Alright, well, on our agenda, we had a report from the Planning and Zoning Chair, Brady Oxender, who is not here yet. So, I'm going to move that we amend the agenda to reslot him tonight after the reading of legislation before old business, new business, in the hopes that he arrives between now and then. So we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Alright, so we'll come back around to Brady at the end if he's here. So now we come to citizens' comments. We invite residents to address council. You have 5 minutes to do so. Who has an interest? I see Ms. Craddock, would you like
I
to?
just have a question.
Well, so
I'd like to talk about the vacate. Should I do it now or later?
Yes.
this is the only opportunity
time.
for people to speak. So you stand at the podium, identify yourself and your address, and I will start your time when you start.
So I listened to the work session. At
But
least
if you
part-
could identify yourself, your
Mr.
address.
Craddock Goodall, 3071 Minerva Lake Road, Minerva Park.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay?
Yep.
I listened to at least part of the work session today to get an idea of what's going on with everything. And mostly I just wanted to come, I know there were some discussions about why we've chosen to do what we're doing and some not necessarily correct information, but I thought I'd just say, is there anything you'd like to know?
Okay. So typically, citizens' comments, hold on, let me pause, is an opportunity for you to speak what you have to say. It's not intended to be an open question and answer period of time.
Okay, so when do I do that?
But like,
What I'm
I think
doing.
might be best, because since this involves their request,
Mm-hmm.
we can address that with her, obviously, outside of this, and we can have a discussion, perhaps put a slot for the agenda, perhaps by third reading, so, because obviously she's the
Yeah.
property owner making the request, so.
Yeah, that would be
I
more
think that
appropriate.
makes- yeah.
We'll have someone from the administration reach out to you to put this on the agenda to have that discussion in a meeting.
Which is
So
when?
it would be essentially by third reading, so they've already had first reading, second reading is tonight. There's another work
June
session.
9th.
Prior to-
So-
Yeah, prior to the work session, prior to the third reading is the work session. And the work session, or the third reading is when the council will vote on it. That time, obviously, there may be some final comments that you may have as a property owner who initiated the request, and then we may be able to provide support that time.
So one,
Yeah, so we had a 6 o'clock legislative meeting tonight, and one of the things we did discuss, that although given our statutory status as a statutory village, we are well within rights to just address it here in council, that we are instead going to push it to planning and zoning first, because we know, in particular, I believe Chairman Oxender had some interesting ideas and thoughts.
Yes, and those
And-
I think, if I may, so it would be good to have address those at the next work session, which, at that time, if it's the council desire, after legal counsel and I tell you what we know, we had a post-discussion
Yeah.
concerning some of those. The engineer still has to go out, with me prior to that work session. He's already given me a preliminary analysis, which is pathway's probably fine, but I'll walk it with you and let's see how it goes. And so we would have all that to report back to the council at that time. Those, it would be good if Brady was here because then we could have that discussion and I could pass on some of the things about right-of-way versus leasing and all that stuff. Right-of-way is very different. And so again, your legal counsel will need to just weigh in and give you legal opine on it for you a bit. And that can all be done by the work session, which is the appropriate place to kind of bring all the information full circle prior to the third reading, and then anything we need to address with the requester, resident requesting, is a good time to go back.
Yeah, so it is currently slated for a third reading at the second regular council meeting of July. So I would expect that will be slated for that.
No,
It would be the
it's the
first
first one.
June, it's
The
June
June
9th.
ninth.
Oh, June, oh, sorry,
Yeah.
I thought we were already in June.
No.
So yeah, sorry, the second regular
You're-
council
you're
meeting
good,
in June.
Because I'm in the same boat.
Yeah,
Well, I'm gonna, if it's okay, I'm gonna clear up some of the stuff I heard, and then if you guys, if I can make that meeting, you have questions for me, that's fine. First of all, it's not a quarter of a mile from each road to the pool, it's 1/10 of a mile. I actually, when we talked about this before, I measured that, and, I thought it was important, and I'm not necessarily against a path through there, but, I don't know, it seemed important. So my other thing is, when the last council came to look at putting in a path there, it wasn't actually, while I will say, yes, I'm sure the neighbors were all very much, we're not sure about having a path here, at least some of us. It was decided, because it's really a mess, weather like this, in terms of maintenance, that it was just really a bad idea, because it would be a mess of maintenance. So it wasn't, I can't speak for the council people, or they felt bad for us or whatever, but that was what I understood. Driveway, it's not about the driveway, it's about, well, I don't know, it's about just the property, and I think we've been fine not having it, but it sounded like something the village might want to do, so we're entertaining the idea. Okay. Good? Do you
Yeah,
want to talk
I
with
mean-
anybody specific about the meeting?
We will, so it'll be a council meeting,
Uh-huh.
and then the mayor and I will just
Let me
reach
know.
out to, yeah, absolutely. He'll be on the agenda, we'll put you on.
Okay.
Alright.
Yeah, so, yeah, depending on if it ends up going back to,
But because it could be tabled by the
Right.
Yeah.
and we'll send it to, based on what the council decides
Perfect.
prior to that, at that night.
Yeah, I mean, because my thoughts is to table it until planning and zoning can come up with a recommendation.
And that's why we'll report back at the
Yeah.
work session, we may change it again.
Which then, would presumably give you, another place to speak as well, because if we table it and move it to planning and zoning for recommendations, they're gonna have a meeting on it. And you could talk to them before they recommend it to us.
I don't necessarily know that I need to speak, but it seemed
Yeah.
like there were questions that people had, and, I wasn't, we weren't there to answer them, so that was more of a,
If I could,
yeah,
if I could, just say, I guess, where my thought process was at the time, it'd be, fantastic to give the, properties over. I just wanted to have the, report from the engineer and the planner that if a path was to be done in the future, that'd still be possible with the remainder.
I think that completely makes sense. I mean,
That was all I was ever trying to figure out.
That's something else, what it was. Thanks.
Thank you for your time. All right, I think we have two other people perhaps, if you guys want to rock, paper, scissors, or,
2937, he said go ahead. 2937 Berry Lane Court. I'd like to talk just real quickly about vacating a right-of-way. Guys, the rules, it's just this simple. It first starts off at planning and zoning. I sent out an email to everybody pointing out the code that specifically says that. So, like you had said, Mark, this needs to be tabled and then goes to planning and zoning. And then
that's not what I said. I said we're a statutory village, you don't have to do that. I'm just not gonna have you misquote me.
Well, I'm sorry, I was trying to give you credit for understanding what the proper course of action is. Okay, but again, that needs to go to planning and zoning. You don't really understand how things work around here. The mayor just decides here, I like what she's gonna get ready to do with the shelter. And that's why I gave you guys a copy of what I gave you tonight is what I could find of the green space plan that planning and zoning put together. Now I point out to here that if you look at section 5, you know, there's a description of number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is over around the playground. You will not see anything on there specifically about shelter being put at this location. Now, you know, there's a long story to why we got to this point where we're talking about a shelter. It really started in just coming up with a price for the shelter. That's what planning and zoning worked on. And there was some very loose discussions about where the shelter was going to be at. What I'd like to say, and I didn't say this when they were talking about the shelter being put at this location, is that if you look at the plan, it says for improvements to the basketball and playground. What I remember about this conversation was to put playground equipment there. But all of a sudden, the mayor first is the one that brought up having a shelter there, and then first brought it up by the basketball court. And then in the meetings, we said, well, how about over here by the playground? I would say that, and the other thing that doesn't appear on this plan is that we talked about a porta-john, like an enclosed porta-john or an enclosure around a porta-john in this location. Those are the things that, in my opinion, are more important for this location. Is someplace for people to go to the bathroom, which is something we talked about in planning and zoning. And now that we have all this money to spend on improvements, it's time for the community committee to get together and start talking about what we're going to do. What are the priorities for this millions of dollars that we have for infrastructure improvements? If you look at the description of the community committee's responsibilities, it says to make recommendations to council for the care and maintenance of the grounds and facilities. This is your main responsibility on the community committee, is to make recommendations to council for what you guys want to do with all the money that we're talking about spending in the green space areas. And start having a conversation about it before you start deciding that we're going to put a shelter on a corner when there's a lot of people that aren't in favor of that. So I think you guys need to start the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Robert Segovia, 3090 Minerva Lake Road. At the previous regular council meeting, Mary said she responds to every single email sent to her. There are at least 2 I sent within the last year that I did not receive a reply. So maybe that applies to everyone but me. I don't know.
I'll look it up,
At the
actually.
previous council meeting during citizen comments, Mr. Benedetti mentioned concerns from a couple people that reached out to him. One question from council asked why those people didn't come forward and speak for themselves. I understand when someone iterates that what someone else says that's hearsay, yet that tends to be mainly a convenient way to dismiss concerns when the concerns are not wanting to be heard or to be dismissive of that person that brought them to you. It's a shame to be things like that dismissed when someone's just raising concerns instead of thanking them for it. But whatever. Council also mentioned that they want to hear from these people and get higher attendance at council meetings. Unless some type of larger issue affecting people comes up, I cannot see that happening without residents such as Mr. Benedetti or myself have been treated at times, unless something like worthwhile door prizes are going to be given out. I don't see that happening though. Legislation regarding the vacated right-of-way along Minerva Lake Road, across from Valley Road. What's the benefit to the village to vacate these right-of-ways before something such as the walking path is completed? Would it be beneficial for the village to at least create the walking path in that area, connecting Minerva Lake Road and Greenway primarily for the village swimming pool? That would be a great benefit for it. Even if nothing is done with these right-of-ways, what's the benefit to the village to vacate it? I understand adjacent property owners have been maintaining these portions of these areas, yet how different is that really compared to similar other right-of-ways or areas owned by the village? How different is that really from the parkland areas in the newer development that people have been asked or told not to cut the grass or things like that? I believe deer currently use that right-of-way when they cross Minerva Lake Road to get to those parkland areas in the newer development. I haven't heard that being addressed yet. It sounds like one basis provided as to why to vacate this is because the level of care the owners give. Even though it might be the village property, the homeowners are the primary ones by far, and likely the only ones that have really benefited from this right away. It is not like when people are just going over there and hanging out all the time. And I can't say I've ever heard of that ever being an issue. It'd be nice if somebody says that has been an issue, to back that up, but I doubt it. There's also no guarantee that the same care will be continued with the current homeowners or the next homeowners. A few years ago, one or more of those trees in that area fell, and some damage resulted to one of the adjacent properties. The property owner wanted reimbursement from the village, and legislation was subsequently passed to compensate the property owner. Expanding the land of the adjacent properties closer to these trees will only increase potential liability for the village. There's no guarantee that the current homeowners or the next homeowners will not try to hold the village responsible for damage caused by any of those trees or anything else that happens in that area. There are other areas of the village with similar type right of ways. If it's sensible to vacate this right of way, then it seems to be sensible to vacate other similar right of ways. There's clearly a benefit for the property owners. But so far I've really only heard weak excuses, what I would call at best, as to why it should be vacated. No clear continuous benefit for the village has really been established. Something was mentioned about, walking path for that area, and that path crossing the drainage ditch. That path goes from that right-of-way area into the northwest corner of parcel ID 113-02163 on Green Line, within 10 feet of it. The creek's there. You're not going to build a path to go over into that other Reserve A area and then go back across. You'd have to be crossing that stream twice. That makes no sense. It would make sense to cross the stream on the other side, or even start the path on the other side of it and continue it on the east side of that stream. Plus the part that vacated to the one property, that drainage ditch part of that drainage ditch is within that area to be vacated, which I'm not sure if that makes the best sense. I understand easements can be obtained and stuff like that. Plus the one parcel ID that is next to the one adjacent property, it's 0.36 acres. You add on the other area from that right of way, and that makes that a fairly sized, potential parcel of land that could potentially even be developed. As far as the maintenance for a walking path, when it's raining like this, I don't think people are going to be out there walking, so I don't think that's as much of a concern. It's no more a concern than any of the walking paths that are currently in the green areas over in the newer development. Thanks. Oh, by the way, I'm glad that the stop lines are getting painted. I was wondering if the crosswalk ones are still going to get painted.
As of right now, we're just doing the stop bars.
Can I comment?
No, I'm actually gonna start. On October
She can talk
3rd,
if she wants to.
Go ahead and start. I'll go
Yeah.
after you. That's fine.
I'm addressing his completely. On October 13th, of 2021, you sent me an email that did not require a response. It was a statement. And on September 17th of 2021, you also sent me a copy of something you sent to code enforcement that also did not require a response. So I do respond, and that's all I have to say. Go ahead.
Okay, so that was gonna be my first thing, if you could, coordinate with her for the dates. I think everybody should be held accountable for their communication. And this may surprise you, sir, but I 100% agree with you with the communications being not the best in this village. I will be the first one to say, you know what, I agree with you.
Well, that's just the mayor's opinion that it doesn't require a response. And the response of even acknowledging is a response. It's not even that happening, okay?
What I meant, since you were talking in regards to what I said last meeting, correct?
I didn't
I'm
think
going
so.
to, yeah, you were, because I was the one that said it.
No, I was just referencing in general.
Just the same as I said in that meeting, no one's discrediting Mr. Benedetti. I don't think it's fair to Mr. Benedetti himself to have to carry that weight. It is not fair. And while he's passionate, and I admire that more than anybody else, it is still other residents' responsibility to show up and voice their concerns, because unless you showed up tonight, sir, I wouldn't know that there was emails going unanswered, or supposedly, correct? We need resident engagement for the vital change that this village needs, and that's where I'm gonna stop.
Well, Mr. Benedetti bringing up things, or any resident bringing up things that other residents have been adopted before, is the same manner of training things. If you want to be picky about, how you choose to receive it, or what you're gonna, how you're gonna label it, or whatever, or do anything with it, or not do anything with it, that's really your choice.
I think we're ready to move on in the agenda.
All right. Okay, let's start off with, as was actually brought up tonight, ordinance 10/2022, an ordinance to vacate an unused easement held by the Village of Minerva Park over parcel number 113-001040. This is our second reading of it. And although it is perfectly fine for us to just continue on with this, I think it would not be a bad idea to table it until Planning and Zoning gives a recommendation.
You say you have the opportunity to table it after the work session, which I think is valuable, because you need to hear what the legal counsel
We can-
has to say at that time.
Okay.
We can always table it at the third reading. So if we get to the third reading and we still feel like planning and zoning has.
I'm not a
had
rush to
their say-
clutter things up, so good discussion on that. It has been read a second time and even discussed a little. Look at that, that's awesome. Ordinance 11-2022, an ordinance to vacate an unused easement held by the Village of Minerva Park over parcel number 113-001042 and 113-001043. Has been read a second time. We will get to that at the work session and see if we need to kick it down or not before the third reading. Okay, ordinance 12-22. I don't have first, second, third reading dates on this one, my copy at least.
Okay, we'll get those, this is.
It's the first
First,
reading.
this is obviously the first, because I hadn't seen it before. An ordinance to make supplemental
why.
appropriations for the current
The-
expenses.
Hold on, the
Oh.
ask was to waive
Hold on.
readings.
This is the one they want done.
I was asked
Yes.
not to put dates in it,
Yeah.
that's all I can tell you.
It's.
They are
Okay.
wanting to
It
do it as
has
an
to do, I
emergency.
think, with
Yeah,
the.
the fiscal officer has
Explanations
asked
they
that we waive
perhaps?
readings and pass it. Or, and waive readings.
There you
but
go.
It was in the email, subplural.
Okay, so I go by the official
We know, you're
thing
good.
putting out on the thing on the agenda.
I would have been the one to get in trouble for that one, so
Yes.
I knew that.
All right, well then let me start again. Ordinance 2022. An ordinance to make the supplemental appropriations for the current expenses of the Village of Minerva Park for the year 2022. An awful lot of movement and changes on this one. And I'll let the mayor speak to some of them, or just even all of the big ones. You know, the 5.2 million, the 2.7 million. I'll just let you talk about those. I could, 'cause we talked about it in legislation, but go
Do you wanna read
ahead.
it or do you want me to read
Oh, do you not have it?
it? The email pulled
Oh.
up, because
Oh.
this is the descriptions of everything.
Okay, there we go.
So, this is an update for a lot of different things. I can start with the swimming pool. The wages were changed for a lot of the lifeguards, as you guys are fully aware with the legislation that passed. So that is adjusting the budget for the salaries for the lifeguards. The other thing that we're having issues with is we have been nonstop on things breaking at the pool. As you guys are aware, most of the equipment is from 1985. We have replaced now 2 filters. We started that up, it broke, and we fixed that. Now we have another issue down there. So getting more money in our fund to continue to fix the pool until we get it up and running. That's what that is for. So I'm probably skipping around. So there was a grant received from the Attorney General's office to cover a portion of the cost of some mandatory training. So that was the police reimbursement fund. The TIF tax fund, that one is the appropriation request for the debt service payments. Our payment's actually gonna be due in December this year, so again, that's the debt payment for that. The community garden, they have not spent all of that, so there is still a balance in there, so that community fund has to do with the 2021. That is actually MPCA, not us, so,
Okay.
but we still are holding the fund for that.
So
The
we're
PEP
releasing that.
The PEP safety grant, that was a $1,000 grant that we applied for. That one is for safety of the village, so every year we can apply for a $1,000 grant from PEP. We've been doing that each year, and that's what helped pay for the railing out there one year. So every year we apply for it, so again, that's $1,000 that we're receiving for that grant. It's just not been put in the fund yet. Sewer phase 2 and 3 debt services, this again is just something that he's trying to realign things. Having a new fiscal officer, he does things a little different, and we are trying to get some of this stuff in line for the way that he wants them. So those are the debt services, these are 30-year loans, those are the OPWC. sewer projects for the sewer phase for that one. And I know I talk fast. The Minerva Park TIF Construction Fund, that represents the bond proceeds available for various projects, so I assume that that's the money going in, because I'm only looking at the descriptions.
Well, it's a increase, but I assume the reason we're increasing by 5.2 is we have that money and we're fencing it off
Correct.
as capital outlay. We're just putting the money in its proper pen.
We're putting the money in the
We're
proper
not
place.
taking money out of general
Correct.
fund or anything. We're putting the bond money into its proper column on the spreadsheet.
And then we have the appropriation request for the reimbursement to MI for the infrastructure improvements in the TIF area, so again, that's paying them off.
Yep.
We've already closed on the loan, so that's why you're seeing these.
Yeah.
This is the money that's coming in and the money that's going out for those.
But especially if we're gonna do it as a hurry,
Exactly.
because,
We wanna
the
know
bottom
who's
line on it is 8.9 million,
Yes, it
which is more than, the typical, we need to,
Yes. Yes, we are doing exactly what we said we were gonna do. We are paying off MI homes with the first part, and we're putting the other one in the account until we start spending,
Yep.
with the known projects that we are planning on doing. The 2020 sanitary sewer project fund, that appropriation is for administrative costs associated with those sewer projects charged by Morpsey. And I don't know if we're done. And that's it. So that is a
There we
quick
go.
rundown, of all of the movement of money.
Gotcha. All right, and you're saying our fiscal officer wants us to waive and emergency tonight?
It's an appropriation, so there's no.
So,
There's no
sorry,
emergency,
waive.
yes, it's just
But
waiving
waive,
readings.
waive 2 and 3?
Yep.
Did they give a good reason for it, so that I can give a good reason?
Lifeguard salaries are gonna start, but that's probably not that big of a deal, cause we're not gonna be out, the reimbursement there. Yeah, we have all this money that's coming in and we need to put it somewhere.
Yeah,
We've got millions of dollars sitting here, there, and MI needs paid.
they need to get into a fund so that they can.
So, yeah, that would be our good answer,
There
that's my
you-
answer.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for, was the reason why to do it now, is because the money is sitting in limbo and needs to get into its money pen,
Yes,
or its account. I guess is where we put money in, not pens, you use accounts. Okay, and that being said, I will make a motion to waive the second and third reading. Seconded by Jason. Any debate on that? Speak now, because if anyone's got an issue with this, it's not happening, don't surprise us. I mean, if you got an issue, you got an issue, but don't surprise us, that's just kinda jerky.
I'm just happy that we, explained it through everything and
Yes.
explained the rationale for the emergency for people who don't get all the same information that we do, so I'm convinced appropriately.
alright, let's start.
Okay, well, first we have to vote, yeah, so right now we're voting to waive readings.
Correct,
Yeah,
Yes, but which still needs to be a roll call vote.
yes.
correct.
Yeah.
Council President Wolf,
Aye.
Councilperson Trustad,
I,
Councilperson Cameron,
Aye.
Councilperson McNamara,
Aye.
Councilperson Bruger.
Aye.
Alright,
All right, we have waived the second and third readings. We've already discussed what's in it. I will move to pass.
Second.
Seconded by Councilperson Camera.
alright.
Any debate on that? I think we're ready for a roll.
Councilperson Bruger,
Aye.
Councilperson Cameron,
Aye.
Councilperson McNamara,
Aye.
Councilperson Trustad,
I,
Council President Wolf.
Aye.
Okay, passed and done. All right, moving on, resolution 2022-14, this is a second reading. A resolution submitting the question, is this a second?
Yes.
Yes, it is, okay. Submitting the question of a renewal tax levy for the purposes of providing for the current expenses of the general fund of the Village of Minerva Park to the Franklin County Board of Elections. This is a 5 mil renewal. It generates $176,000. And I wanna say, what was last year's budget, 2.1, 2.2 million?
Something like that.
Somewhere in that neighborhood, so 176,000, not a lot, but it is it's not a double-digit chunk percentage, but it's a 7 or so. It's money that we kinda depend on. And that's the second reading, unless anyone else has something to opine on it. Okay, moving on, second reading of resolution 2022-15, Resolution affirming the appointment of Michael Fout as a full-time police officer for the Village of Minerva Park, Ohio, and declaring an emergency with a request to waive the third reading. This, of course, is just our most often emergency waiver, seems to be these, getting employees officially on the employee rolls. I'm gonna move that we waive third reading.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any debate?
discussion?
No, his question comes when we go to pass
Oh,
it.
sorry.
Yeah,
It's coming.
I'm waiting for it.
Hold on, it's coming.
I was ready for it.
Is there a reason why this was a
His
second?
6 months starts
Oh,
this
okay. I
before
didn't hear
June
that part.
9th, 3rd,
Got
10th,
it,
or whatever
okay.
the next one is.
I just didn't, I must have been elsewhere.
Asleep.
I don't think that was actually stated out loud.
No, now it is.
it is?
Yeah.
Okay,
Do you know what the official date is? Not, just, there you go.
okay, yeah, fair enough.
There you go. All right. We are waiving the third reading. Okay. Councilperson Berger.
Aye.
Councilperson Camera.
Aye.
Councilperson Tressa.
Aye.
Council President Wolf.
Aye.
Councilperson McNamara.
I,
All right.
All right, we have waived the third reading, so we can move this resolution to a question of passage. I move that we pass.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
yes, as is my habit, Chief Bell, or is there, any reason whatsoever that the village should not go forward with the, confirmation of the appointment of, Michael Fout with the police department?
There is not.
Excellent, thank you, sir.
What would we do without you?
I don't know why you asked that question. Why would he want to hire somebody to do that?
For the record,
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're also, for 6 months, I mean, they're new. I mean, it's
Yeah.
a 6-month trial run. He brings the information to council, and if there was any problem, question, concern, we'll put it in there.
Do you think he's ever gonna say, oh, no, I think he's.
I mean, presumably, if the answer was no, it would have been, no, we fired that guy months ago. But not like, no, I was just waiting. I just wanted to object to the full-time. I wanted to keep him on the line.
You never know.
Yeah.
It's a great, you know what, it's for the record. There you go. All right, there we go.
All right,
Do
we are still voting to pass.
Councilperson McNamara,
I,
Council President Wolf,
Aye.
Councilperson Camera,
Aye.
Councilperson Bruger,
Aye.
Councilperson Tressa.
Aye.
All right, resolution 2022-16. First reading, a resolution to adopt the tax budget for the Village of Minerva Park, Ohio for the year beginning January 1st, 2023, and to submit the same to the Franklin County Budget Commission and to declare an emergency. Although we are getting through not just 3, but 4 readings on this have been scheduled. If I'm reading my paper right, that it's not passing until July 14th. Today's the 21st, or there's a typo, because third reading is June 23rd, and it's saying passed July 14th.
That may be because we were talking about, do we have to add a meeting?
You had talked about possibly doing
I-
that, you had also talked about how to get the hearing in and all.
Because we have to be able to get the hearing in before, and I think it has to be in there. So I think we are talking about adding a meeting, you guys just don't know it yet.
Okay.
So we'll discuss it over the next couple days.
So in the past, we've had the tax budget
It
meeting.
will be that day.
Well,
Oh,
but
yeah,
we've
no,
done it.
this isn't right.
Yeah, we've, every other year I've been, it's been
Yeah, no.
immediately before.
The dates are
third
incorrect.
reading.
The dates are incorrect, so we will fix that
Okay,
on
this
there.
is a first reading. We do plan on 3 readings, however.
But the tax budget hearing has always been the 30 minutes before the
It should be
third
that,
reading.
and it should be that. That's what I'm thinking it
When's
is.
the
We're
first
not,
week of July?
Huh?
July 14th. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, it should pass to June 23rd.
Okay,
So it should just be a typo. But
Gotcha.
We'll
Just a
double check
typo.
tomorrow, because we will have to get the public hearing scheduled.
Of
For
course.
either the 23rd or July 14th.
Yep.
If it is July 14th, then we'll just skip a reading, or skip one of those dates. and not
Gotcha.
read it.
It's fine.
But I think
and
it's gonna be
this
cheaper.
is the tax budget, which is different than the actual village budget. If anyone wants to explain the difference for people out there curious, anyone here can explain that?
Basically, this is the budget that we submit to the state and or county that justifies our need to excise tax.
Isn't it the next year's budget?
No.
No, that's not at the end of the year, but
That's
this
at
is,
the end of the
This
year.
is
This
a
is,
separate document than the village's annual.
which is
budget.
why I wanted someone to explain that before we moved you past that.
This is
Because
still a
I
budget.
was still confused by it myself up until
Yeah.
an hour ago.
Okay. Let's talk about old business.
Well, first, we had amended the agenda
Yeah.
to
Do you
remove
wanna amend it
Brady.
again?
Yeah, we'll just pass on Brady. I don't think we need a motion to agenda to move it.
Perfect.
To just say he ain't here, and maybe we'll reschedule him for another day.
Okay.
So move on to old business.
Anybody have old business? And I have plenty of it, so not really. Anybody else with old business? Don't worry, it'll be quick. Just a reminder, pool opens Saturday at noon. Little Ladies is confirmed for 1 to 4. Which is absolutely amazing. They will be outside of the pool. We will reconfirm that with them. It closes at 8. There's gonna be all of us will be down there. And all I ask if anybody's watching this is for some patience. We are starting all kinds of new things down there, with the software, so please just be patient. We all plan on being, not all of us, but several of us plan on being down there to make sure we get people checked in, take pictures, do all of that.
I was about to ask the question, what do you mean by all of us?
Not all of us. You know what? We are so important right now that we will be down there. That's all that matters. So we're taking all of
And
it.
if I come down in an official capacity, do I have to pay my $5?
Come on.
Just check it.
It's 10 for you.
Yeah, actually I thought it was 12 for him. Okay,
Only on
so
Monday.
that is Saturday. MPCA is gonna have their movie night that night, so there's just a little, it's Sandlot, so that's at 8 o'clock. The Sunday is gonna be the best day because Sunday is when we're doing the Minerva Park Cookout, and that is also from 1 to 4. We will be doing hamburgers and hot dogs. That's gonna be done as donations. You know, obviously we recommend like $1 for a hot dog, hamburger, you know, whatever. We will be selling,
Chips and soda.
chips, sodas, candy bars, all that. So come down, some of the council will be down there, I use the word some. Some of the council will be down there, I will be down there, again, that's Sunday from 1 to 4. Again, be patient with, the office staff because they're all learning a new system. And then Monday, do not forget, if you are not a member, it is $12 for entrance, and those have been posted down there for those dates. If they haven't been posted, we did make the flyer. So, that's all my old business is super excited for the pool.
Question on Saturday and Sunday at the pool, and this is actually not just me being joking, but serious question for people out there. Saturday night movie at the pool, is there any entrance fee? Cookout, is there any entrance fee?
Cookout is being done outside of the pool, for that reason.
Awesome.
We actually did just discuss that, so yeah, we decided to
Just-
do it outside to not make it any more of a headache than we're already gonna have, so.
Anyone in the village can
Anybody's-
come for the food.
Yes.
Movie wise, there's no admission fee, and it's actually on the other side of the pool, and Carrie just recently put up a map where it's going to be.
So that is also outside of the pool fence is what you're telling me?
Bring snacks,
Okay,
bring
okay.
whatever you want.
That, I mean, because I didn't want people showing up like, well, I'm here for movie night, well, you have to pay $5 to get in the pool, like, but I just want movie night, well, you know.
No, we
Okay.
tried to make it easy and cheap
Yep,
for people.
I was confused on the logistics of that, and now I am no longer confused.
You are good. So, looking forward to that, obviously. Not looking forward to Saturday's weather, but definitely Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. That's my old business. Does anybody have anything else? Nothing. New business. Does anybody have anything they want to discuss?
New business.
Eric?
So we had a pre-con while I was at my conference out west, I had a pre-con with the school district and with their engineers and
Excuse
Mike
me.
Flittinger. The pre-con is for the widening of Farview Road, that will begin on Tuesday the 31st. Westerville School, I believe, is out, that's why they scheduled it that way. That will go until July 31st. There will be some disruptions during that time, however, one lane or lanes of traffic are intended to be maintained, so people will still be able to go through there. They'll have flaggers. I did in the pre-con tell them that it would be helpful if they would go ahead and put out a couple digital signs, about a week ahead of time, just on either side. And so I'm trying to get the contractor to do that here shortly before he starts, or at least early, because Tuesday and Wednesday is really going to be more of a mobilization day. They're not going to dig up the road right now from the get-go. So hopefully for about a week, we'll have some signs out there to help notify people. And I told them to get with you to help coordinate anything. So,
Guys, I have a question.
yeah.
You said it's gonna be one lane maintained?
That's the intent.
Is it just during the construction and then goes back to 2 lanes when they go home? Or is it gonna be
No.
maintained 1 lane all time?
I would.
And if so, are those flaggers gonna stay there all night, or are they gonna have some kind of a traffic light set up?
I did clarify that.
Okay.
It's a good question.
If not, we'll just send Brian out, we'll have him do it in 24 hours, no, I'm kidding. That, great information, and then just a reminder for people, and we put this in the newsletter too, that I had somebody ask me this earlier today, the start times for the 2 elementary schools are gonna be staggered. So to help alleviate some of that, next year, so for just peace of mind,
Well,
Um,
yeah.
hopefully.
Well, no, it's definitely gonna happen,
Yes.
but it will help, but it was not done to help that, it was done due to Westerville busing
We worked really
concerns.
hard to make that happen.
Yeah,
So with
I don't
the-
think you really wanna take ownership of the split elementary start time in Westerville next year. Like, no, we're the ones who convinced the Board of Ed to do that, it's all Minerva Park.
You're probably right, you're probably right. Okay, did you have anything else, Eric?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Those are the questions.
So with the new school opening up in the fall, are there gonna be any school zone signs out on Farview or anything?
Yes, they're still wrapping up stuff. I
Okay.
mean, they'll wrap up stuff until the end.
Okay.
So there's gonna be, new lighting we put in, because obviously anything that is in front of the school entrance on their property
Uh-huh.
is a school zone.
Okay.
So it'd be a little strange if they have they have a back entrance too, so
Well, it's an exit, right?
it is technically
Yeah.
an exit, but still with the property above that. I don't know that they'll need to put a whole flashing for that small 50-foot of width there, but we'll see what the plan says.
I was just wondering from the exit, because my understanding is that's where cars come out after they pick up their kids through the entrance, if there'll be,
There'll be signs
okay,
that we put them up, so.
okay.
And I'm trying to think it different, except for my building, it has an entrance and an exit that are separate, but it's much, much closer, it's maybe only 50 yards, and they just started here, and it's just one continuous until we get both of it.
Maybe I'm wrong, but it was my understanding that the buses would be in front of the school and the parents would be on the north side of the school. And then the parents would go back out the north side of the school, and the only ones using that exit would be the buses.
He is.
Buses go in and out the
They
same.
go-
They
Yeah,
go
they-
but
they
the
go
cars
circular.
go,
Cars go in
Right.
and out the same,
Would go.
right.
same entrance and exit at the north end.
Although I will say, my building has a double horseshoe drive, where you can come in one lane right next to the school, one lane inside of that, and in the like a double rainbow. And so buses in one lane, cars in the other, and in the 7 years I've been there, it's flipped and flopped and changed 3 times.
I'm sure they'll adjust.
So yeah, they'll do that until they say, this isn't working for dismissal, we need to have the kids over here and the buses over there, and
Just some concern about, cars speeding through there now, as they're picking up their kids in the morning and night. I mean, it came
Picking up their
up,
kids from where?
school, when it opens,
Oh, so there's concern
there's
about a problem that doesn't
pre-concern.
exist yet.
well,
Yeah.
it exists now with the current elementary school, so I can't imagine it won't exist with the new one.
Gotcha.
yeah.
We will observe all.
Yeah.
There'll be signs.
Alright, anything else on any new business? Okay, cause I'm gonna go backwards to old business, you guys will just have to bear with me. Sorry. Mike Flickinger sent an email earlier today, and some people actually will wanna hear this. So, we will get this information posted on the website. They met with DJX, which is the contractor, over for the East Shore Court project, the 2021 Storm Sewer Improvement Project. They intend to be on site starting on Tuesday. So that's great news for anybody that wants to know. Of course, that is weather permitting. Additional information regarding the project is as follows. The contractor will be assessing the site using the easement near 5336 Park Lane Drive. Material, stone, pipe, etc. will be stored within the project area as needed. And the contractor intends to begin earthwork first and then followed by the pipe installation. I have the actual schedule of it and it will be posted on the website tomorrow, hopefully tomorrow. So, great news, the project is starting and hopefully it will be starting on Tuesday. Last but not least, planning and zoning next month is gonna be June 7th, which is a Tuesday, which is different than it normally is, at 7 p.m. And then on the 9th, I just have a clarification, Eric. We have a event at 6 o'clock.
Yes.
Are we also needing to be here I need to be here at 6:45?
So I need at least a quorum of
Okay.
council to open the 15 minutes for a public hearing, which has been advertised and scheduled for a good 30+ days now.
And this is on what day again?
On the
It's
9th.
Yes.
So on the 9th, the same day that we have something at 6, we just need to be here at what time?
So you need to be here at 6:45, just a quorum.
Okay.
So a couple of you wanna hang and continue to glad hands.
It's over at 7, so I still think it'll be, and it's right there. So, I just wanted to clarify that for everybody instead of emails, because I think that's confusing. So anybody that wants to attend over there, we'll try to be there a couple minutes before 6. And then we'll probably need to leave there by 6:40 to be back over here for that meeting. So,
Here for.
It's a variance.
Variance request.
and then
Published.
last but not least, that's for 15 minutes, so does that mean we should just change the meeting back to 7 is what I'm asking? Because we originally changed it to
You
7:30,
should, otherwise, potentially people, the idea was to open the public hearing 15 minutes
And then
prior,
go
close
straight
at
into the
7,
meeting.
and then you're right into your meeting at that point.
so if it's okay, let's just switch the meeting back to 7 since we have to be here, we didn't coordinate that very well.
Yep.
So Thursday, the 9th, our meeting will in fact be at 7, not 7:30, and we will get that adjusted out correctly. Okay,
Back to new business? Sorry.
I'm not doing it
I'm
now.
tired,
Go
I'm
ahead.
looking forward to sleeping, I've been flying all day, so I'm here, I've only been in now
Go
for 3
ahead.
hours. So, just wanted to update you all on the bidding timeframe. We've gone through 2 weeks of our 6 weeks of the bidding timeframe. We had our first pre-bid this past week, was attended by 3 contractors. That was good, 3 GCs I should say. And we already received 1 bid, so much better than the first round so far.
I don't know how much detail you're giving or not. Was it like a serious bid or another one of the?
We can't
open it until-
Oh, that's right. You have to keep them until you have all of it. Okay. I didn't forget. I did not realize that, but that makes perfect sense.
Yes. So that's it. 2 more weeks, we'll have another pre-bid meeting, so there'll be more people attending.
So we don't know if
4 weeks,
it's,
we'll be able to open them and give you a report of that.
we don't know if it's some jerk on the other end of it like I do whenever someone texts me that they want to buy my house and I just text back, sure, $500,000. That's a little high. I told you,
that's cheap.
I told you what I'd sell it for, not what it's worth.
I always say it burned down, thanks for reminding me. I've been homeless for the last month, and I say.
Oh, goodness. All right, does anybody have any old business or new business, because I'm done.
Move to adjourn. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Yeah, whenever they call me, it's right.
I know.